Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. It's gonna be sick.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to a Sick Podcast collaboration. We're very excited. Two of our shows, of course, getting to merge today because we have a big football game coming up this weekend between our Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Nicastro, Jordan York. You got the thumbs down from Kelly Singh's Arizona Cardinals. So we're all excited over here. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Somebody's going to win. Somebody's going to lose. Expert analysis, of course, from our team over here. Kelly, we're happy you could join us. How are things over there on the West Coast?
It is great, nice and sunny. It's that perfect time of year where we can actually wear a little sweater. It's nice. It's wonderful. And we got our quarterback back.
There you have it.
Jordan, how are things in Pittsburgh? I feel like that's the first shot fired on this whole show.
The weather was great. You know, we're 7-4. I don't know how, but we're here. We made it. And
I thought you were going to talk about the snow. Yes. People keep sending me videos and
no, it was like 45, 50 degrees here. I wasn't complaining. I'll take that any day in late November.
It's 55 here, and I'm freezing my butt.
Yeah, rub it in
South Florida. All right,
unbelievable. He had to get that one in, Kelly.
Well,
I can relate.
I know.
My blood has thinned out. 33 years in Pittsburgh, 30 years in Pittsburgh. And he's right, 45 degrees. We would be
you're a local
grilling.
Now.
We'd be outside grilling in tank tops, and now it's 60 in Florida, and I'm shivering with my little dog in the morning. All right, speaking of shivering, maybe the Cardinals right now are shivering in their boots a little bit as they get ready to play the Pittsburgh Steelers at Acrisure Stadium. No, I honestly think it's going to be a much closer game than the experts are predicting. I know you talked about your quarterback. We'll get into that in a second. But the first thing I wanted to ask you, I was reading about it today. I was shocked to find out you guys have not had your bye week yet.
No.
Wow.
I mean, you're talking about some wear and tear. I feel like the Steelers had theirs in like week 5 or something, Jordan. Did that show last week against the Rams? Are you guys starting to wear down a little bit?
I don't know that it showed last week, but it sure is showing on the injury report as we go into this week. So, I mean, maybe that was the weakness, the starting. It was not pretty. I didn't even record a recap show. I was like, I'm not talking about this. But yeah, I mean,
we've been there.
There's a lot of injuries right now, lingering injuries, new injuries. So yeah, it's rough when you don't get that bye.
Watching the Sick Podcast collab, Mike, Jordan, and Kelly Singh, excited to be talking Steelers Cardinals this upcoming weekend. Kelly, you mentioned your quarterback, Kyler Murray. He's dynamic still. You know, he's obviously not Clayton Tune, the backup who was in there for a little bit. Came in his first game, and I think he beat the Falcons, am I right, 3 weeks ago at this point. Coming off that big ACL injury last year, playing with a team, obviously, that's not the same playoff team he had 2 years ago. How has he looked in these last 3 games?
I think his legs have looked really good. We're getting a lot of running, except weirdly enough, last week he only ran for like 3 rushing yards, which was super weird. I feel like the passing's a bit rusty, but it's coming together. It's gelling. I'm being positive because the legs look good, and that's what matters with Kyler Murray.
Yeah, no question about that. I think he's quite dangerous, and I think it's the reason the Steelers are only a 5.5-point favorite in this game against a 2-win Cardinals team that just got blown out against the Los Angeles Rams. By all indications, the prognosticators think this is going to be a relatively close game. And Jordan, we know how the Pittsburgh Steelers are. If it's not a close game, there's a full moon out there or something because every game is close.
I pray every week, and I must tweet it every week. Like, it would just be great to sit back on Sunday, order a dozen chicken wings, and just watch the Steelers blow out a team 41-7. Give me, I'll take 23-0 at this point. But I just think that it's just, this season has been, I know it's been rough over there, but this is every week. You have to sit down for the final 2 minutes. You can't go watch something on Netflix. you have to just keep going. But it's unbelievable. To say
Kelly,
the least.
we're going to flip the script to you relatively soon, and you can hit us with some questions. But I have a couple
Yeah,
more before we
I
do
had
that.
one too before.
Go ahead.
Go
Let me ask. I want to ask one more about
ahead.
Kyler Murray while we're still on the topic. Okay. What are the feelings like around the team, around the fan base, around the organization? And I know those are different elements and parts about his future with the team. Is he back and somebody who's going to continue to lead the franchise? Does Jonathan Gannon want him as the quarterback, or is this a team that might look to move on next year?
From everything that I'm hearing and seeing, the team is super supportive, and the front office and the back office and everyone in between is very supportive of Kyler being the guy. I also believe that they do have feelings, positive feelings for Clayton Tune. I know that I speak very highly of Clayton Tune, so I'm trying not to be very biased, but when you take a look at a rookie quarterback that beat out the veteran backup plus the backup backups, two of the backup backups, you know that they have at least some forward thinking of there's something brewing here. There's mostly talk about, do we need more help in our wide receiver room, is the most chatter that I've been hearing about the upcoming draft.
Yeah. And I was always kind of, to go back to the quarterback question that Mike was talking about, I feel like Kyler Murray, he always has one of those games where he just goes off. And that's why I can see this as a trap game, for us over here. But with that being said, a guy that was beloved here when he was in Pittsburgh, James Conner. I mean, this is like his homecoming. The Steelers stuck through him through the whole cancer thing. Just obviously, I literally have his book sitting on my desk right here. He's just an all-around great guy. Just talk about kind of how you guys embraced him and how he's been over there. And just, this is like his homecoming. So I think it will be great. There's no bad blood. It's just an awesome football story, and those stories never get old.
Yeah, the Bird Gang has fully embraced James Conner. He is a staple of our team. And dare I say it, we may not even remember that he was on the Steelers at all. He is here in our hearts.
Bird Gang.
Wow, I didn't know it was like that, but I mean, I know anywhere he goes on and off the field, he's going to leave an impact. And I think he really found his resurgence when he came to the Cardinals, because, they were kind of like, long-term, how running backs are valued now. And I think that it was the best situation for him, and he's just been absolutely killing it.
Yeah, I mean, right now we're looking at almost records being broken. I won't say he's on this hot streak. This could be his 6th straight 500-yard season. So we're all pulling for him. And there's already been, actually, this is his 6th straight. He's already got 562 scrimmage yards.
Wow.
Excuse me. So it's wild, this streak that he's been on. This injury, that's the even wilder part. His injury didn't even impact staying on this streak. So if you want to hear about another streak with James Conner, 50 or more scrimmage yards in all 16 road games he's had with Arizona since he arrived in 2021. Wow. So it's a homecoming, but it's also got to keep this up, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think he's going to be playing with extra heart, that, he wants to definitely go out there and, beat the Steelers. Why not? So, yeah, I mean, I think
always hard, no matter what, that guy. He played through, like you said, beat cancer at Pitt, played, that video of when the Steelers drafted him, he's pounding his chest. I'll never forget that. That is such a great moment. And to be completely honest, he's been a better player in Arizona. Steelers fans thought he was done. That's why they drafted Najee Harris and let him go. And then he became a Pro Bowler in Arizona. So, Bird Gang, I'm with you. Let's ride with our guy there.
Yeah. So like over there in Arizona, like what is your goals? I would say like for the rest of the season, is it just, you got your quarterback back? Like, are you playing for a draft spot at this point? Like what's what is this game going to bring on Sunday? Obviously no coach is going to go up there and say, yeah, we're going to give it our all. Like, they want to go out there and win. It doesn't matter if you have, 2 wins, whatever it is. You want to go out there and knock people out of the playoffs. So where is kind of everything at right now in Arizona land?
Yeah, when people talk about draft picks, obviously you can never have too many draft picks. But from the beginning, when there was talk of tanking and all of this and that, I feel like people neglected to remember the Cardinals already had 6 draft picks in the first 3 rounds, just in the first 3 rounds. So that is an impressive collection of picks. Having more doesn't hurt, but I don't think that's the goal. I think the goal right now is just to show people Kyler's healthy, James Conner's healthy. The team is full of young guys who are up and comers that are something to, I don't know, be feared is the right word, but definitely don't take it lightly because they're out there fighting. What do the kids say? They got that dog in them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm super bummed that Michael Wilson's been injured the last several games because that kid is going to be one for your dynasty leagues in years to come. And we're going to be talking about Michael Wilson, the fantastic receiver, in the next years to come.
I remember watching him in the Senior Bowl, kid out of Stanford. I can't even spell Stanford, so good on him. I agree. He was great early in the season, and he'll be great. He'll have a great career, no question about that. All right, we did the Sick Pod collab, Cardinals style, Cardinals vibe. Let's switch to Steelers vibe. Do you have any questions for us that we could? If you have some Cardinals listeners out there, right? We wanted to teach our Steelers fans a little bit about the Cardinals side. If of course you have Cardinals listeners out there, what do you think they'd want to know from the Steelers side?
I think some of the same question line here is Kenny Pickett the guy? I mean, I feel as if maybe do they want somebody more experienced that does he need to sit out another year? Is this one of those weird situations we're getting into? Not quite Zach Wilson, not quite Mac Jones, but like what's going on there with Kenny Pickett? Is he the guy?
Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, I think that from where I'm at right now, I just think give him to the rest of the season because obviously, Matt Canada got let go. So I think that you let him play the rest of the season and kind of evaluate it there. I mean, obviously everyone's worried because, it's obviously not all Matt Canada why they weren't producing on offense, but it's like you kind of don't have too much invested in him. Do you bring in a guy like I'm just like throwing out names like Kirk Cousins, like anything? People are saying Justin Fields, but I just think that don't jump the gun because we're gonna let the rest of the season kind of pan out. That's from me personally, and I think that everyone can kind of is in the same boat like in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he's going to get a pass now, and I'll keep it brief because he really struggled under Matt Canada. But as Jordan said, the first game, Matt Canada, offensive coordinator, after he was let go, the Steelers got 400 yards, Kelly, last week for the first time in 59 games. 59 games. So people are obviously back on the Kenny train because he had a really good game without the guy who's been really easy to point the finger at.
Yeah, I mean, that was wild to watch all of that unfold over the last, I don't know, mid part of the season. It was many, many weeks.
Years off our life, Kelly.
Years
we'll never
off your
get
life
back.
in a mere few weeks. But I am interested in that and hearing that now that Matt Canada's gone, does that change the culture? I mean, there was a scuffle, right, in the locker room or something last week. And we don't hear those kinds of things come out of Cardinals camp. I'm not bragging. Maybe they're better at keeping it under wraps, but it's been sunshine and rainbows and teamwork and best friends over here. And then you have all the Matt Canada, the changing of leadership, the scuffles in the locker room. Does that all kind of boil down to the stress of that midseason, do you think?
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. First and foremost, Mike Tomlin has always done a good job keeping those scuffles under wraps. Yeah, of course, occasionally things will come out, and you're absolutely right. There was a reported little scuffle between Deontay Johnson and Minkah Fitzpatrick, two really pivotal players to the Steelers' success on the sidelines a couple weeks back. But ultimately, the Steelers have a really good way of twisting that into competitive fire, right? Like I think Mike Tomlin always says he'd rather have guys who say, "What is it, Jordan?" I can't remember the quote, but he'd rather have guys a competitive spirit, like he talks about his
He
receivers. He'd
doesn't.
rather
He
want the
doesn't want.
ball.
He doesn't want hostage. So he wants
He
volunteers.
wants volunteers, not hostages. That's one of them. He wants his
Sorry, my
receivers to
water
run
went
the ball,
down.
right? He wants the fire. But at the same time, we're lucky here. We get to talk to Steelers running back Jaylen Warren, and he talked about accountability this past week, and he mentioned the new offensive coordinator, specifically Eddie Faulkner. I asked him, Jaylen, what felt different in this past week? What role did Eddie take on? And he said, something along the lines, if he holds everybody accountable, if players are screwing around, basically, he, tells them to stop screwing around. And there's almost an implication there that maybe Matt Canada did not do that. So I think to your point, there's definitely a bit more of a punishment aspect or a side eye aspect when there's a scuffle or skirmish or something like that. So yeah, I mean, hey, listen, it worked for 1 week. We'll see what happens this week.
Ironically, both of those players, Deontay Johnson and Minkah Fitzpatrick, were on your injury report, but Deontay Johnson's still ill, and Minkah Fitzpatrick looks like full practice. So that's good. That's positive news.
Yeah.
Jordan, I think Deontay's probably ill from watching the highlight of him not picking up the Jaylen Warren fumble. He's probably sick like the rest of us.
I just like me, again, this is me speaking personally. I don't know how you can even go in as a professional athlete and explain that to your teammates. Like, I just like they told us in Pee Wee football, wrestling, everything, you go until the whistle, and there was no whistle.
So. Yeah, he gave up, and I'll give him credit. He owned it.
Yeah.
He could have this week brushed it aside, but he said, I watched it. It was awful. It looks bad. I told my teammates. I apologized. And so I give him credit for that. But, yeah that was pretty poor. But on the Minkah Fitzpatrick subject, Kelly, we Steelers haven't had him in a month. He is an all-pro last year. I think for my money, he's one of the best defensive players in the whole league. You guys have a safety out there that's damn good as well in Budda Baker. I think those guys, although they have different playing styles, they're both elite safeties. There's no question about that in my mind. So getting him back, pretty sure it looks like he's going to be a go for this Sunday, is huge. And the team somehow kept their head above water without him. So it's just absolutely massive that he's back, and hopefully he remains healthy.
Yeah, for sure. On the same kind of line of questioning people and their roles on the teams, you've got Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren kind of playing by committee. It feels as if Najee Harris had been I'll say quieter, a little bit quieter, but then last week, all of a sudden, he had these 99 rushing yards, season high. But it doesn't seem like he still doesn't get as many touches as Jaylen Warren. Is it intentional now that it's running back by committee there? Because we certainly can't do that on the Cardinals. We don't have the capacity really to do that. So I always find it interesting when I see that running back kind of by committee.
Yeah, Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, So
it's a blessing. I mean, it absolutely is a luxury that there are two running backs who can handle the load. And it's funny, there was this competitiveness, not just on the team, but between fans, right? Fans would always say, this guy's better. No, this guy's better. This guy's better. You're stupid. No, this guy's better because he did X, Y, Z. And my point was always like, why can't you just have two solid running backs? Like, why does it have to be this guy versus this guy all the time? Jaylen started really hot. He was the hot hand the last 3 or 4 weeks. Najee was a hot hand last week. Seems like they play the hot hand, right, Jordan?
Yeah, and I think that when we talk to Jaylen on Tuesdays, he always says, like, obviously, and he even said it at the live show a few weeks ago, there's a friendly competition. It's sports. Everyone wants to elevate everyone, but I think it's whoever's hot. So like Najee, obviously Jalen had the fumble last week, so Najee can come in and say, okay, he's running, he's doing his thing, and they just go with who's hot. I think that's kind of where they're at with it. And I know Jalen was named starter. I think what was it, Mike? Like the Titans game, I think.
Yeah,
And,
but it was they let him run out of the tunnel. They gave him, there was no real starter, and I think Tom will tell you
it's
that.
whoever's hot. Like that's what sum it up.
And a crazy stat. I know you threw out a crazy James Conner stat. Najee is kind of seen around the league as this bulky, plodding back, kind of like James Conner. He has more 15-plus yard carries than anybody in football this year. Be a little bit shocking.
Yeah. And we talk about James Conner having another 6th season over 500 rushing yards, which is impressive. But I just looked and I saw that Jalen Warren and Najee Harris are both over 700 scrimmage yards already this season. Amazing. And they're playing by committee. So it just speaks to the rushing game that the Steelers are going to bring to the Cardinals.
It's an outside chance, but they both have a chance at 1,000 yards, which would be incredible. 2,000 yards out of the backfield. All right, I think we should do it. Don't you, Jordan? Let's do the predictions. What do you say?
I'll start.
Steelers first or Card? You want to rock, paper, scissors for this? Steelers
I'll go, and then we do her, and then you give your final pick.
All right.
So we'll switch it up. I'll start, then Kelly, and then you end it, and we'll get out of here. All right. Okay, so I'm going to say the Steelers offense is going to come alive yet again, but I think it's going to be a lot closer, and you can call me crazy because we're the Steeler Crazy podcast, and I'm going to say 30-27 Steelers because I think your quarterback is going to have – I think your quarterback's going to have one of those games where he just goes off. James Conner's back. Like, it's just things are going to click for the Cardinals. But I do think that Kenny Pickett really – has something to prove, and I think that's why he's going to get, you've seen Pat Freiermuth talked about him a little bit. I think he's going to be another big problem for you guys this Sunday. So I'm going 30-27, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The Steelers haven't scored 30 points in 3 years. Jordan is due. He keeps predicting it. He's due.
Hey, I commented on the Steelers post on Instagram and said they're going to get over 400 yards. And obviously I just took a shot in the dark. I do it every week, but it worked. And I'm still here, baby. But yeah, this has been awesome, Kelly. I just thank you again and keep doing what you do.
Let's hear it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I had a really great time, and I like that high scoring game. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I would love to see the Cardinals win. I'm looking at this injury report, and it is rough. So hopefully we can come out just as well as you guys do with a ground game, and we'll see what happens.
You got to give us a win or loss.
I got to give you a win or loss. Okay, well, I'm going to go with...
We know it's early, but this is the early, the sick podcast.
You can still change it, but we got to have one on record.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to go with my guys or I'll just be booed into the ground. Wow. So I am going to go a little bit lower, 27 Cardinals, 21 Steelers.
All right, that would be a big-time defensive letdown if the Steelers give up 27 at home with Minka back. But nothing surprises me anymore when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah. They got ripped to shreds against C.J. Stroud earlier this year, but that was before we learned that Stroud was the second coming of Patrick Mahomes. But Kyler can play, there's no doubt. I said it earlier, this is a sneaky, fishy Vegas line, that 5.5, because it's a 2-10 team traveling to a 7-4 team at home who's won a couple straight yet, or I'm sorry, who's won 3 or 4 at this point. I just feel like it's going to be a lot closer than people think. One, because it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Every single game, as Jordan mentioned, is high anxiety. And two, because I think James Conner and Kyler Murray are going to play well. And they have a lot to play for, that's for sure, in terms of just building momentum into next season. There is no give up in this team, as you mentioned, Kelly. So I'm going to pick the Steelers. I'm not going to pick 30 points, but I'm going to say along the line, I'll go 24-20. Pittsburgh
ain't
wins.
Too far behind. He's out here hating on mine.
24-20. It's not 30. Pittsburgh wins. Arizona covers the spread. George Pickens is going to score a touchdown. He's due. There you go.
He got that dog in him.
There you go.
But listen, I'm going to say this. George Pickens touchdown, but also a James Conner touchdown.
I
So
like it.
as long as we're up, I'll be happy.
George Pickens, real quick before we wrap up, you just made me think of something. Last week, I'm watching him. He makes this fantastical catch. And I'm like, you know what? They may not target George Pickens as much as they should, but every time they do, it is like the effing Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
I know.
I think they just came out with a stat today that I think that all of his catches are just like explosive. I don't know.
He can't catch the ball normally. It's very it's weird.
It's like a work of art every time. Like something crazy is happening, and then you're just excited.
Yeah.
Well, we need to get that painted and put it up in. If the Steelers win and he scores a touchdown, we're going to send you a picture of Pickens in Mona Lisa fashion, and you got to put it in that background. There you go.
You know what? I will. I will
Wow.
do that.
Wow. All right. You heard it there first. That's Kelly Singh.
From Sophie Smack. That's,
memories.
Oh,
Kelly wants to forget the MVP. February 1st, 2009.
Don't do it to her. There it is.
I'm just kidding.
There it is.
Honestly, Arizona's Pittsburgh West. I always, and a lot of Steelers go there, a lot of Pitt players, some local guys from Western PA that we know played there. So, yeah, I mean, when they're not playing the Steelers, Pittsburgh West, go Cardinals. But on
Larry
Sunday,
Fitzgerald,
Steelers,
Brian
on Sunday. So, yeah, we have love.
James Conner, there you go. We have love for Kelly Singh, too. You're great. Thank you so much for joining us. Good luck to the AZ Cardinals, and I can't wait to see George Pickens' Mona Lisa depiction on that brick wall relatively soon.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.